In the distant future, Earth had become little more than a forgotten speck in the vastness of the galaxy. Once a thriving world that had reached out to the stars with dreams of conquering the cosmos, humanity now found itself ignored by the great, alien empires that ruled over the galaxies. These alien civilizations, whose fleets filled the heavens and whose technologies were light years ahead of anything Earth had ever known, saw humanity as an outdated, insignificant species. Earth's once strong voice in the Galactic Council had been drowned out by the noise of more powerful, more advanced worlds. The humans, with their old technologies, had become a joke in the eyes of the universe. They no longer had the strength to make threats that could be taken seriously. For centuries, their calls for respect and justice were met with nothing but laughter and mockery. The alien races had long since grown accustomed to Earth's impotent demands. Whether it was the Zorathians, whose massive warships could crush entire fleets with a single shot, or the Illyrians, whose knowledge of artificial intelligence was so advanced they could predict the future with frightening accuracy, none of them gave humanity a second thought. They saw Earth as a backwater planet, one that would never rise again to challenge the power of the galaxy's elite. The humans' proud history of space exploration had become nothing more than a myth, a long-forgotten story lost to time. No, one in the galaxy believed that Earth still held any kind of significant threat. But deep beneath the surface of the Earth, in a place where even the most advanced alien scanners could not reach, a secret lay hidden, one that the galaxy's greatest minds would never have expected. Beneath miles of solid rock, buried in the cold, forgotten wilderness, an ancient mothership lay dormant. This was no ordinary ship. It had been constructed by the very first humans who dared to leave Earth, long before the age of interstellar travel. Built in a time when humanity was still young and struggling to understand the universe around them, it was the culmination of their greatest achievements, a marvel of engineering and technology that no alien race had ever seen. For centuries, this ship had remained silent, its vast systems and advanced weaponry locked away in a deep slumber. But it was not destroyed. It was not forgotten entirely. It waited. As the years passed and Earth's people struggled to rebuild what they had once lost, they began to uncover the secrets of the mothership. The world's greatest minds and the brightest engineers began to piece together the lost knowledge. The ship, once a symbol of humanity's dreams, began to stir to life once more. Its engines hummed, its systems powered up, and its enormous, dormant weaponry began to hum with power. The ship's AI, once dormant, began to awaken, learning and adapting to the new world that had long since forgotten it. This mothership, which had been built in an era of human ingenuity, was now more advanced than anything the galaxy had seen in thousands of years. As the first spark of life returned to the mothership, so too did the growing strength of humanity. For too long, they had lived in the shadows of the stars, unnoticed and disrespected. But now, they had a weapon that could change everything. The mothership was no longer just a relic of the past. It was Earth's greatest hope. It would be their answer to the mocking aliens who had laughed at their threats, their declaration that humanity would no longer be pushed around or ignored. The people of Earth knew that their time was coming. For years, they had been quietly rebuilding their strength, training their forces, and preparing for this very moment. They knew the galaxy was not ready for what they were about to unleash. No one in the cosmos had any idea what humanity had been hiding for centuries. But the time for secrecy was over. Soon, the universe would hear Earth's roar. Soon, the mothership would rise, and the alien empires would no longer be able to ignore the threat that had been hiding beneath their feet all along. It would be a sound they would never forget. It would be the sound of Earth's return. In a distant corner of the galaxy, a coalition of alien species, long dominant over the stars, convened in secret. Their power was unmatched, their fleets vast, and their civilizations ancient. The Zorathians, the Illyrians, and the Vrexans, each a race with its own empire spanning countless star systems, had all come together with one singular purpose: the total annihilation of Earth. For years, whispers had spread across the galaxy that humanity, once thought to be weak and defenseless, was hiding something. The aliens had scoffed at the notion. They had dismissed the humans' threats, mocking them as the desperate claims of a dying species. Earth was nothing more than a forgotten backwater, a planet full of relics and outdated technologies. The Alien Council had long considered the human race a non-threat, and they were confident that their combined fleets could obliterate the remnants of humanity in a single swift strike. But then, something happened that no one expected. A signal, a strange, almost imperceptible pulse, rippled through the fabric of space. It emanated from the heart of the solar system, deep within Earth's own backyard. At first, the aliens believed it was just another anomaly, perhaps the last breath of a failing human outpost or some relic of a forgotten war. But the signal didn't fade. It grew, sending waves of energy that disrupted the usual frequencies of interstellar communication. It was no ordinary signal. The coalition's leaders, curious but confident in their superiority, decided to investigate. They sent a small fleet of reconnaissance ships, nothing more than scouts, to trace the signal's origin. As they neared the source, their confidence began to waver. The pulse grew stronger, more distinct. It was coming from Earth itself. That moment, the coalition leaders, sitting in their darkened council chambers on distant planets, felt an unsettling chill run through their spines. The humans, they realized, were doing something that shouldn't have been possible. For centuries, Earth had been a quiet planet, its people hidden beneath the rubble of their own failure. But now, they were sending a message, one that the galaxy was not prepared for. The reconnaissance ships arrived in orbit around Earth, their sensors scanning the planet's surface, looking for the source of the signal. At first, there was nothing, just the barren, seemingly defenseless Earth they had always known. But as they pushed further into the solar system, the signal began to pinpoint a specific location, one that had been long thought to be a myth. Deep beneath the surface, far beyond the reach of even the most advanced alien sensors, an ancient structure pulsed with energy. The Mothership, the Phoenix. The alien fleets had no idea what they were facing. The Phoenix, a ship older than any of their civilizations, had lain dormant for millennia, its engines silent, its weapons locked away. But the signal from the heart of the solar system had awoken it. The Phoenix, Earth's greatest hidden treasure, had come back to life. Its massive engines hummed to life, its weapon systems began to power up, and its ancient artificial intelligence, more sophisticated than anything the galaxy had seen, began to stir. The reconnaissance ships that had ventured too close to the Phoenix began to report strange readings, powerful energy fluctuations, gravitational anomalies, and an unknown form of communication coming from the ship. Panic began to spread among the alien leaders. They had underestimated humanity for too long. This was no ordinary ship. It was a weapon of unimaginable power, far beyond anything they could have imagined. The Mothership was not just a relic. It was a force that could change the entire balance of the galaxy. Realization struck hard. Earth was no longer the defenseless, insignificant world they had once dismissed. The Phoenix was a message from a humanity long forgotten, a race that had been hiding in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike back. The signal they had sent was more than just a warning, it was a declaration. The coalition leaders understood, perhaps too late, that they had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth's potential. What they had thought was a dying world was now waking up to reclaim its place in the stars. The arrogance of the coalition was about to be shattered. The Phoenix was not just a ship. It was the symbol of humanity's strength, a weapon that had been waiting for the moment to return. The signal was heard, and with it, Earth's final stand was about to begin. The galaxy would no longer laugh at humanity's threats. It would tremble at the sound of the Phoenix's awakening. Back on Earth, the sudden surge of energy from the Phoenix sent ripples through the entire planet. It wasn't just a signal, it was a call to action. Humanity had been quietly preparing for this day, though they had no idea it would come so soon, and now that the Mothership was awake, the entire world's attention shifted toward the unknown, power that lay beneath their feet. A team of elite engineers, military strategists, and brilliant scientists were immediately assembled. Their mission was clear: to unlock the secrets of the ship and figure out how to harness its power. What they found inside the Mothership was nothing short of extraordinary. The ship, once thought to be an ancient relic, was not only alive, it was fully functional. Advanced weaponry, shields, and technology that Earth had never dreamed of were all contained within its enormous hull. The ship's AI, long dormant, began to power up, awakening with an intelligence far beyond anything humanity had ever created. As the team worked day and night, deciphering the ship's blueprints, Earth's brightest minds quickly realized that the technology within the Phoenix was centuries ahead of anything the galaxy had ever seen. The ship's weapon systems were capable of unleashing destruction on a scale that could rival entire fleets, and its defenses were impervious to the most sophisticated attacks. The artificial intelligence, once merely a curiosity, began to provide the crew with tactical insights that were so precise they seemed almost prophetic. The AI understood the threats that humanity was about to face and began to assist in forming a battle strategy. Earth was no longer defenseless. It had a weapon, a ship capable of changing the fate of the galaxy. With the ship's systems now fully online, the crew realized the full extent of the Phoenix's power. This was humanity's final chance, a last hope against the Galactic Coalition that sought to wipe them from existence. The Coalition would never expect this. No one in the universe had any idea what Earth had been hiding. The people of Earth were not just going to survive, they were going to fight back. And so, a plan began to take shape. The most brilliant minds from every corner of the globe were called upon, each contributing their expertise. Engineers worked alongside military leaders, while scientists analyzed the ship's advanced systems, looking for ways to optimize its capabilities. What had once been a forgotten relic of humanity's past was now the cornerstone of their future. The first test. Flight was both thrilling and terrifying. In a controlled environment, the Mothership began to lift off the surface of the Earth. Its engines hummed to life, sending vibrations through the very core of the planet. The Phoenix was massive, its sheer size dwarfing any known ship in the galaxy. As it ascended, the ship sent a shockwave of energy throughout the solar system, a clear sign to all of humanity. Earth was not as weak as they once believed. The Phoenix was their shield and their sword, and it had come to protect them. As the ship soared into the skies, the world watched in awe. The signal from the Phoenix had already sent ripples through space, but now it sent waves across every continent. People from all walks of life stood united, watching as humanity's first interstellar fleet began to take shape. Earth had been a forgotten world, mocked by the galaxies for centuries, but now it was reclaiming its place. The Phoenix was the catalyst for change, and it was not just a machine, it was a symbol. The world's nations, once divided, now came, together with a common purpose, to defend their home, their future, and their legacy. The time for Earth to be underestimated had come to an end. The message had been sent: humanity would not go down quietly. As the Mothership began its full ascent into space, a new era for humanity was born. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship, it was the beginning of something much bigger. The first interstellar fleet was now being constructed, and Earth was no longer the weak, forgotten planet at the edge of the galaxy. The universe would soon learn that humanity had always had the strength to fight back. They just needed the right moment, the right weapon. And now, that moment had arrived. With the Phoenix leading the way, Earth was ready to stand tall, to prove that they were not the dying race the galaxy thought they were, but rather a species that had finally awakened, ready to challenge the stars. The Phoenix rose from the depths of the solar system like a long-forgotten titan awakening from its slumber. Its massive form, once hidden beneath the surface of Earth, now emerged into the cold expanse of space, its engines roaring to life with an intensity that shook the very fabric of the galaxy. This wasn't just a ship, it was a symbol. And as it cut a path through the stars, the galaxy couldn't ignore the thunderous sound that followed it. The roar of the Phoenix wasn't merely the hum of its quantum engines or the crackling of its powerful war systems. No, this was a sound of power, a declaration that Earth, once dismissed and forgotten, was back and ready to take its place among the stars. The vibrations of the Phoenix's engines traveled far beyond the solar system, reaching alien civilizations and fleets that had once laughed at humanity's futile threats. It was a message to the galaxy. Earth was no longer the helpless, insignificant world that had been mocked and pushed aside. It was a new era, and humanity was going to make sure the galaxy knew it. The Galactic Council, composed of the most powerful and advanced species in the universe, had long believed that humanity posed no real threat. They had seen Earth's history as a faded echo of an ancient civilization, one that had long lost its significance. The threats they had heard from Earth over the years had been nothing more than noise. But now, as the Phoenix sailed through the stars, their mocking laughter turned to silence. They watched in disbelief as the ship's roar reverberated across space, a sound that carried with it the weight of an entire species' defiance. The alien fleets, once so confident in their superiority, now trembled at the thought of facing a weapon they had no understanding of. The Phoenix was not just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's potential, and its arrival signaled a fundamental shift in the balance of power in the galaxy. Alien ships that happened to be in the path of the Phoenix found themselves unable to escape the growing sense of unease. As the massive Mothership cut through space, they could feel the sheer power emanating from it. Its weapons, still dormant, were waiting. The shields, once dormant, now hummed with energy. The Phoenix wasn't just an ancient relic, it was a weapon of war, designed to protect Earth at all costs. The technology it carried, long hidden from the galaxy, was unmatched by anything the alien races had ever seen. And as the ship moved forward, cutting through the stars, the galaxy began to realize that the humans were not the weaklings they had once believed. Earth's military might, built in secret over centuries, was now on full display, and the alien empires had no idea how to counter it. The Phoenix was more than just a ship. It was a harbinger of Earth's resurgence. Its presence in the galaxy wasn't just a reminder of humanity's forgotten history. It was a warning that the time of human weakness had ended and that Earth would no longer bow to the whims of alien empires. As the Phoenix roared through space, its every move carried the promise of something greater to come. The galaxy's perception of Earth was about to change forever. The technological advancements humanity had kept secret for so long were now being unleashed on an unsuspecting universe. The Phoenix was the spearhead of a new interstellar fleet, one that would soon see Earth's enemies scattered across the stars. This was no longer the story of a fallen world. It was the beginning of Earth's rise to power once again. The once mocked species, ignored by the galaxy for centuries, had shown the universe just how wrong it had been. The Phoenix had unleashed a new era for humanity, one where the galaxy would have no choice but to recognize their strength. The sound of the Phoenix's roar would echo through space for ages to come, a reminder that even the smallest of stars can burn the brightest. Humanity was no longer the quiet, forgotten species on the edge of the galaxy. They were a force to be reckoned with. And the galaxy had just begun to learn the true cost of underestimating Earth. The Phoenix's roar was only the beginning. The galactic coalition was in turmoil. The unexpected emergence of Earth's mothership, the Phoenix, had sent shockwaves through the alien empires. For centuries, they had dismissed humanity as a weak, irrelevant species. Now, with the Phoenix roaring through space, it was clear that they had made a grave miscalculation. The Council of Alien Leaders, confident in their superior fleets and overwhelming firepower, had quickly scrambled to respond. They dispatched their best warships, sophisticated, heavily armed, and seemingly invincible, to intercept the Phoenix. They believed it would be a simple task to eliminate what they still thought of as a lone, outdated ship. But they had no idea what they were about to face. As the alien fleets approached Earth's orbit, they expected an easy victory. What they didn't expect was that humanity's mothership was more than just a ship. It was a tactical genius, designed with an advanced AI that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outfight any opponent. The AI, now fully awakened, analyzed the approaching fleets with precision, calculating the best strategies to ensure humanity's survival. The Phoenix was not just a tool of destruction, it was a well-oiled machine of war, its every move executed, with perfect coordination. The alien commanders, once so confident in their superiority, found themselves caught completely off guard. Their fleets, designed to dominate, were suddenly facing an enemy they couldn't predict, couldn't comprehend. The first battle erupted near the outer edges of Earth's orbit. The Phoenix didn't wait to be attacked. It opened fire, unleashing a barrage of energy beams and plasma bolts that tore through the alien ships. The alien fleets retaliated with everything they had, but the Phoenix was already one step ahead. It twisted and turned with an agility that defied its size, dodging incoming fire and returning devastating shots with unerring accuracy. Its shields held firm, absorbing the blasts that would have destroyed any lesser ship, while its weapons systems responded with overwhelming power. The Phoenix wasn't just a ship. It was a living, breathing force of nature, a master of space. Combat! The alien commanders, watching from the safety of their war rooms, were stunned. Their most advanced fleets, equipped with the best technology the galaxy had to offer, were being torn apart by a single ship. They had underestimated humanity in the most catastrophic way possible. The Phoenix moved like a predator, striking swiftly and decisively, its AI analyzing the battlefield in real time and adapting to every alien tactic. The alien ships, once thought to be invincible, were no match for Earth's unexpected power. The Phoenix's weapons ripped through their defenses, disabling ships with pinpoint strikes and sending them tumbling into the void of space. As the battle raged on, it became clear that the coalition was facing a nightmare they hadn't prepared for. The Phoenix was not just a weapon, it was a statement. Humanity had caught up with, and in some ways surpassed, its galactic rivals. The battle that was meant to be a show of force by the coalition had turned into a humiliating defeat. Alien ships, once so confident in their superiority, were now scattering, retreating in a desperate bid to escape the wrath of Earth's mothership. The coalition's leaders watched in disbelief as their fleets were dismantled, their ships reduced to debris in a matter of minutes. It was the ultimate wake-up call. The alien commanders, who had once mocked humanity's threats, were now coming to a painful realization. They had made the worst mistake of their lives. They had underestimated Earth's potential, thinking it was a planet full of outdated technology and helpless citizens. What they had failed to understand was that Earth had been hiding its true strength, waiting for the right moment to strike. That moment had come, and it had come with a vengeance. The Phoenix was just the beginning. The first battle was over, and the galaxy was now aware that humanity was no longer a forgotten race at the edge of the universe. They were a force to be reckoned with. The Phoenix had spoken, and the message was clear. Earth had returned, stronger than ever before, and it wasn't going to let anyone stand in its way. In the aftermath of the stunning victory near Earth's orbit, humanity's newfound power reverberated throughout the galaxy. The Phoenix had crushed the first wave of the Galactic Coalition's fleets with ease, and the once unthinkable idea that Earth could rise up against the galaxy's most powerful forces was now a harsh reality. The balance of power had shifted, and humanity was no longer the weak, forgotten species at the edge of the universe. Leaders from Earth, emboldened by their victory, began to seek out those alien factions who had remained neutral or had long opposed the aggressive tactics of the Galactic Coalition. These races, who had once watched the conflict from the sidelines, now saw in humanity's bravery and resolve something they had been missing: hope. Earth's fight was their fight. The negotiations were delicate, but humanity's newfound strength proved to be the perfect catalyst for forming an unexpected alliance. These freedom-loving alien species, who had long been oppressed by the Coalition, agreed to join forces with Earth. They had watched as the Phoenix tore through the alien fleets, and they realized that humanity had the courage and technology to challenge the very empire that had crushed them for centuries. The alliance began to take shape quickly, uniting races from all corners of the galaxy who had been waiting for someone to take a stand. The Coalition had made one crucial error. They had underestimated Earth's ability to lead, to unite, and to inspire. Now, with a growing alliance at their back, Earth was poised to push back against the oppressors who had once ridiculed them. With the Phoenix at the heart of their forces, the newly formed alliance launched coordinated attacks across the galaxy. The oppressed races, once too fearful to act, now fought alongside humanity, their ships roaring through space with newfound purpose. The first battles were hard-fought, but with each victory, their confidence grew. The galaxy, which had once been dominated by the powerful Coalition, was now being reshaped by an unstoppable force of freedom fighters. Humanity, the once dismissed species, was becoming the driving force of a revolution that spanned the stars. Meanwhile, the Phoenix continued to grow in power. Its artificial intelligence, once a mere tool, had evolved with each battle, learning and adapting to the ever-changing tactics of the enemy. The ship's combat capabilities were improving at an exponential rate, and its systems grew more sophisticated with every engagement. The Phoenix was not just a ship. It was a living entity, constantly evolving in ways that made it nearly invincible. Earth's tactics evolved alongside the ship's growing intelligence. Humanity had begun to master the art of interstellar warfare, combining the might of their advanced technology with their newfound tactical brilliance. The alien forces who had once thought of Earth as a primitive species were now on the defensive, scrambling to react to a threat they never saw coming. The galaxy, once full of arrogant empires and oppressive regimes, now found itself in the midst of a massive transformation. The old power structures were crumbling, and Earth's alliance was quickly becoming the dominant force in the universe. The leaders of the Galactic Coalition, who had once laughed at humanity's threats, now found themselves on the brink of collapse. Their fleets were no match for the combined strength of Earth and its allies. With each passing day, the Coalition's hold on the galaxy weakened, and the cries for freedom grew louder. Earth had become the beacon of hope for those who had been silenced for so long. As the battles raged on, the Phoenix continued to lead the charge, cutting through enemy lines with surgical precision. Humanity's once humbled species had become the architects of a new era. The very balance of power in the galaxy had begun to shift in their favor, and Earth was no longer just a forgotten world at the edge of space. It was a symbol of resilience, courage, and the undeniable strength that could come from a species united in purpose. The war was far from over, but the tide had turned, and with every battle won, humanity grew stronger, more confident, and more determined to see their victory through to the end. The galaxy was waking up to a new reality. The Phoenix had not just come to protect Earth. It had come to change the galaxy forever. The final confrontation was inevitable. The Galactic Coalition, shattered by their earlier defeats, gathered what was left of their fleets, their last remaining forces. It was all or nothing now. The battle would take place in the heart of the galaxy, at the very center of the Coalition's power. The stakes couldn't have been higher. It wasn't just a fight for control of the galaxy. It was a fight for the future of all life in the universe. Humanity, with its newfound allies and the mighty Phoenix at the forefront, was charging straight into the heart of enemy territory. The Phoenix's roar echoed through space, a signal that the time for Earth's reckoning had come. As the fleets of Earth and its allies approached the Coalition's stronghold, the enormity of the final battle settled in. The enemy's forces were massive, seemingly insurmountable. But Earth had something the Coalition could never anticipate: unity, courage, and the will to survive. The galaxy had long dismissed humanity as weak and insignificant, but now, with the Phoenix leading the charge, it was clear that Earth was a force to be reckoned with. The Coalition's fleets, armed with advanced weapons and technology, appeared to have the upper hand in numbers. Yet, Earth's fleet fought with an unmatched ferocity, driven by a belief that this was the last stand for freedom and survival. The battle raged in the vacuum of space, an intense clash of fleets, each side exchanging devastating blows. The Phoenix, its weapons now at full power, cut through the enemy ships with ruthless efficiency. But it wasn't just superior technology that allowed humanity to hold its ground. It was ingenuity. The commanders of the Phoenix used every trick. In the book, outthinking the Coalition's forces at every turn. Where the enemy relied on brute force, humanity relied on strategy, precision, and sheer determination. Time and time again, the Phoenix would strike when the Coalition thought it was safe, using the ship's evolving artificial intelligence to predict the movements of enemy fleets before they even made them. Earth's fleet, though smaller in number, fought with a unity born of desperation and hope. Each victory, no matter how small, drove them forward. Alien ships from every corner of the galaxy fought beside humanity, some driven by a desire for revenge against the oppressive Coalition, others inspired by Earth's unyielding bravery. The once feared Coalition's ships began to falter, their commanders realizing too late that they had underestimated the tenacity of humanity. Every corner of the battlefield was alive with chaos, but humanity's fleets pushed forward, fighting back against overwhelming odds. The Phoenix, as the centerpiece of this battle, was an unstoppable force. Its massive weapons systems tore through the Coalition's defenses, and its shields absorbed the endless barrage of counterattacks. The ship's AI, now fully integrated, with Earth's tactics, seemed to anticipate every move the enemy made. Each laser blast, each missile fired, was calculated with surgical precision. Earth's commanders and their alien allies, despite facing seemingly insurmountable odds, proved time and again that humanity was not just fighting for survival. It was fighting to define its place in the galaxy. The final push came as the Phoenix, its systems near the limit, led a charge into the heart of the enemy's command center. With one final, overwhelming assault, humanity broke through the last line of defense. The enemy's leadership, once so confident, was left reeling, their fleets in disarray. The final blow was struck, and the galaxy watched in awe as the Coalition's power crumbled before the might of Earth and its allies. The Phoenix stood tall amidst the wreckage, victorious. As the battle drew to a close, the universe was left to reckon with what had just transpired. The Coalition, once the dominant force in the galaxy, lay in ruins, its empire shattered by a species they had long dismissed. Humanity had proven that they were not just a footnote in the history of the stars. They were a force that could change the course of the universe. Earth's roar had been heard, and it would never again be silenced. The Phoenix had shown the galaxy that humanity, once laughed at and underestimated, was not only capable of defending its home, but was a power to be reckoned with on the grandest scale. The galaxy, now free from the oppression of the Coalition, stood in awe of the human race. Earth had won, and the universe would never forget the lesson. Never underestimate the power of a species that refuses to be broken.